with an airplane, go on the flyers rights and sign up. Diane, you want to say something?
I wanted to say because I know Havok started touring when you guys weren't that old and you're just going to the band. For the new band, the people that have just started the bands, what would you recommend how they need to find the bands to go, like out of state or out of the city? What advice do you have in doing that?
Well, like to be able to get gigs out of state, I think you need to be friends with people that are in touring bands, even if they're not necessarily big bands. If you can make friends with them, they'll come play the show, and then you can talk to them and say, hey, next time you come to Denver, I'll get you guys a show. How about when we go to Detroit, you give us a show? And that's a good way to go about it. You trade shows with people. And that way, when you go on tours, if you know enough people, you can just call them up and be like, hey, dude, my band's booking a tour. Why don't you book a show for us? And like I said, when you guys come back to town, we'll give you a show. You can just do that with everybody. That's how I know tons of people from doing that, just from seeing bands that were on tour, getting to talk to them. And
you were really good at hanging out at their shows too.
Yeah, I just go to shows and hang out and meet bands. And
he would watch Westward and stuff, and then when they said, some heavy metal band was playing at the Marquee, he made sure he was at the show and talking to him afterwards and getting phone numbers and stuff.
Well, and as it turns out, some of the bands that I've become friends with have since then signed and become really big, so I know names in the industry, and it's just because I went to the show and made a point to know those people.
Yeah. This is just a real quick question for you, for both Dave and or Chuck. Is do you find that there's a minimum amount of touring, a minimum time slot of touring that's necessary to make the tour break even or profit? Is there a suggested number of weeks or a month or?
Well, being from Colorado, you need to go do at least a week of touring because Colorado's like 8 hours away from every other major city.
Right.
And like he said, if you go out east, it's a lot easier because the cities are all close together. But normally, I would say a couple weeks we need to go out to make a difference. And you don't want to pay for your show just to get drink tickets and meal. You want to make sure that there's either a door deal or a guarantee involved. Otherwise, you're just going to be playing for 4 people. The bar will give you a cheeseburger and send you on a plane. That sucks. I've done that.
Well, then a good cheeseburger.
Yeah, you've got to expect, is what I usually do with all the clients. If you decide you want to tour, you have to expect the first tour, probably the second tour, you're going to lose money. So
Absolutely.
Be financially prepared before you get on the road. You're out there to make friends and build your email contact list. And in any way you can network. Aunt Sally's cousin twice removed happens to like your genre of music. Find a way through Aunt Sally to find that other distant relative, name, email, phone number. Start contacting them before you leave your home base. Start building your fan base, or at least your curiosity base, before you get to that city. Plan financially, plan on connecting before you connect face to face. Start building your fan base, because for every 5 people that have heard through Aunt Sally that you're coming to town, they're going to have a coworker, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a next door neighbor. They're going to start wanting to have a party while they come to see your show. They're curious enough about you because they've heard of you.
Well, a huge thing of it is making friends. Like, seriously, when you go on the road, you make friends with people, then you don't have to pay for a hotel room. You were drinking with some dude, and he's like, you can come crash on my couch, I got plenty of room. Like, seriously, making friends is, I'd say half of this industry is making good music, and the other half is who you know. And when you know everybody, you tend to be more successful than being an ass.
That's Chris Rivero, who works for KBPI. Yeah. I want to add a couple of things, and it's our 9 o'clock. So one thing I will say real quick is from personal experience, don't ever rent a motorhome to go on tour. Oh my God, does it cost you? It's unreal. If you own a motorhome, it might be a little different, but renting a motorhome, you can figure $300 a day in expenses. And if you're not making $300 at the gig, you're in trouble already. Second thing is if you're having trouble getting bookings and trouble getting rebookings, you really need to take a look at your act. If your act isn't good, now, and I'm not going to say musicianship-wise, because everybody I know here is really a good musician. You spend all your time practicing, your guitar playing is great, your vocals are good, etc., but there's something else really wrong. So get a video camera, study what you're doing, and I'm going to throw it out there again, the board heard this at the board meeting, eye contact. People cannot look at their audience, and if you can't look at the audience, they're not going to be looking at you. So, with that, we're going to, I was going to say, we'll have just another really social thing. If you need to leave, feel free to leave. If you want to hang around and talk a little bit, go ahead. But otherwise,
Barb, not me.
oh.
You're on stage and I can't see your eyes. I don't want to represent you.
Yeah.
Period.
What I showed at the board meeting was the America's Got Talent judges really ripping into Michael Grimm about his lack of eye contact. And they said he's not connecting with the audience. So if your eye contact is bad, you're probably going to have trouble getting gigs, believe it or not.